Except that, though, that the party's constitution also gives voice to what should happen in terms of the leadership structure in parliament and who has the final say in that structure. And Andy Apiakubi, that matter came up today at the press conference. And Joe Sowusu was asked a question about the party's constitution on the subject, right? Because he was making an emphatic point that nobody else other than the caucus itself can select their leaders. I want to quote to you what the party's constitution says, Ms. Apiakubi. Article 13 under the parliamentary group 2 says, the election of the leader, the deputy leader, the chief whip, the deputy chief whip of the parliamentary group shall be done by the National Council. That's your party's constitution. That takes the matter, from what I read,
that's what,
out of the hands of the caucus.
Yes. Yes, that is what it is in our party's constitution. But as you know, the party's constitution is an arrangement that manages the relationship between members of the party, in the party. But here we have an enactment of parliament that should control relationships and procedures in parliament. So immediately you know that the enactment will take precedence over the party's constitution. And the enactment is a matter of law. And in fact, if we have been doing this by the party's constitution, it becomes precedent. And as we all know, in all cases, precedent will only follow the law. It's not the other way around. And therefore, when the party's constitution comes into conflict with the enactment of parliament, it is the enactment of parliament that takes precedent. And in such a situation of conflict of rules or laws or rules of engagement, it is always the case that the enactment will take precedent. And that is what has happened.
Mr. Cletus Avoka, you've been a leader before. Let me ask you that question. Andy Apiakubi makes that point, but the Constitution recognizes that you are elected into Parliament on a ticket of a political party, to the extent that when you cross carpet, you actually lose your seat, that you have to go for a by-election. So why? How can you then say that the party should not have a say because you have standing orders that have been enacted? The party is supreme in this matter, is it not?
Yes. Nobody is saying that as a matter of principle, the party should stay aloof or should not be involved in this exercise. Nobody is saying that. I think what we are saying generally is that notwithstanding the NPP party constitution provisions, that is the duty of the National Executive Committee to reshuffle or appoint leaders in Parliament. Behind the scenes, they must consult the caucus of the majority side to say that this is what we have in mind, and then these are the people that we are proposing. What do you say? They have to do that because you have to have consensus between the National Executive and the caucus in Parliament. Otherwise, your matter, about 90%, if not 99% of government work passes through Parliament. And if there's a friction between Parliament and the Executive, then you have challenges. Secondly, I think we have to deepen democracy. We should look at best international practices. For example, if we go to the US or UK, it is the caucuses that elect their leadership, but they can do so in consultation with the party executive. Now we have standing orders that we adopted on the 6th of February 2024 that has departed materially from the old standing order that we used to have prior to 6th of February 2024. Before the 6th of February 2024, the standing orders of Parliament provided that the party will designate the leadership of their caucus, whatever that means. You can interpret it in two ways. When they say the party will designate, doesn't mean that the party can appoint the caucus leaders without reference to the caucus persons who are going to be superintended by the caucus leadership. They have to have trust, faith, and confidence in their leadership. So they have to have a say. Now, MPs are elected to go to Parliament. The president, the vice president are elected. Then we come to the Parliament. The Parliament is the bastion of democracy. Parliament is a symbol of democracy. If there's no Parliament, then it is a dictatorship or it is not a democracy. So if we have to practice democracy outside, and we come into the Parliament House or the chamber, there might be not only be democracy, but there might be seen to have democratic principles applying to us all in that place. So I think that the new standing orders is very clear. I believe that my good friend was trying to allude to the new standing orders. If you look at the new standing order we adopted just about a month ago, it says that the caucus in Parliament, the majority caucus member in Parliament, will decide who are their leaders, will elect their own leaders. The minority side will also elect their own leaders. This is a new development. I think this has been developed because of the past antecedents that we have had before. So I think that the NPP have realized that what they were doing was sinning against the standing orders of the party, of Parliament, and therefore they have required, or they have, like what some people have called a failed coup, or etc. I think that we should marry the two together. You see, there is reason behind the party having a say or some sense into it. We are talking about participatory democracy. We are talking about balancing your party and their positions. So the party would normally want to use Parliament to balance some of the inequities that they might have had in National Executive Committee, etc. So in that vein, the party may have a say as to how your leadership can emerge. For example, the party can say that we want a leader from this region or from this part of the country or from this background. And that should guide members of the caucus to follow suit. And if they say they want somebody from the Upper East region or Northern sector, then that will guide us. Then we would then choose somebody from that particular area. That will balance the equation, or that will bring efficiency and then the different democracy in the party setup. So I think that there's a balancing act between Parliament and then the national executive of each of the parties. We have to do things at the background before they come to the public domain. Yeah. That is what is lacking, and this is what is causing the confusion.